So sitting in that space, you're going to feel the love, you're going to feel the bliss, but the feeling is secondary. It's being caused by the presence of bliss. And so even in feeling the love, you don't want to pay attention to the feeling. You want to pay attention to the feeler. Let's see. What is that? There's a downside to the spotlight, somebody said, Walton.
Yeah, it won't let you watch in file mode anymore. Like, have everybody up at all at once.
Yeah, you can change your view somewhere. I know, it changed mine at first, but then you can go to the view somewhere at the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it flipped it as soon as he did it, but now it's letting me back to it. I apologize, Swami.
No worries. No need to apologize. So yes, it's an important thing. Is don't paying attention to the feeling. The feeling is also a thought. The feeling also is a thought. We label it a feeling, but it's just another thought. Like we label everything wrongly. Everything is just.
I'm like trying to think of how to picture, because it's like, okay, I can't have a picture of somebody. I'm trying to picture, like, what do I think of? Like, what am I trying to think of? It? It's love. Like, what am I looking like?
You're not. That's the thing. You see, looking at is a sense.
Yeah.
We're not using our senses. Our senses are worthless for this. So all senses are thoughts, and so we're trying to not be interested in them. But when you get inside, if you at least can get to the point where you're not paying attention to everything physically outside of you, you close your eyes or whatever, and you come on down, and when you're actually able to get it to be close to one object, whether it's your mantra or the vision of Thakur or the ideal of mother or whatever you've managed to get to inside, if it's mother or if it's your mantra, pay attention, go ahead and pay attention to the feelings that arise within, okay? Because that's at least in one sense subtler than the picture or the image. To pay attention to the sense that's being caused by the thing. But what you're trying to do is, in that silence, pay attention to what is experiencing that love, what is experiencing the feeling, what is experiencing the result of the thinking. It's a very subtle thing, and it's not something we've ever done before. It's not like anything else, which is why it's so difficult for us to do. And really the reason we're not realized is because of that. It's a completely new thing for us to pay attention to the source of everything, the source of our entire being, like that thing that is us, that has compiled and chosen all of the things that we've put together for personality and for ego and for every ounce of your story. But you're trying to look at who's experiencing all this whole story. Who is it that's practicing right now? Who is it that's thinking right now? Who is it that's talking right now? Who is it that wants to know anything right now? And it's an absolute silence. That's the response. It's an absolute silence. Yes, it's an absolute silence. It's the very inner sanctum of your temple, the body. It's the very inner sanctum of that. Very sacred space, and it can't be disturbed. There's no doer in there. There's nothing to disturb. That's why it's the peace that passes understanding, because it's a peace that has no cause. It's not because you're being quiet. It's because you're not being distracted, which is very different. It's a peace that cannot be disturbed within you. And your experience of that is your experience of love. It's what Mother Thakur says in that one space in the gospel: as is a man's meditation, so is his experience of love, and as his experience of love, so is his progress. So this silence, this watcher, this source of attention, is the love itself. It is love. And the closer, and meaning by closer, I mean the more you're able to let go of any other distraction, the more you're able to do that, the greater your experience of bliss is. And it's possible to touch, I'm looking for a word to talk about something that I haven't ever spoken about before, but this, there's a live wire in you where the insulation has been removed, and it's more powerful than an electrical wire. There's solid electricity running through it, but that solid electricity is actually unconditioned love in its pure form. I mean, it's the thing, and the sensation is that you can't touch it because you are it, but you can touch it in the sense of not having anything distracting you for, if you can manage even a split second of it, even the shortest amount of time you can possibly imagine. If for that amount of time you can get yourself absolutely undistracted, you'll have a lovely, memorable, forever remembered shock of pure love. Yeah, it's just like a shock of pure love that will give you a hint of the power that's there, will give you a hint of the intensity that's there, and will show you what causes samadhi, as it were. Of course, it doesn't cause, because nothing's being caused. All of this is always present in us. It's just never known, never paid attention to. We're constantly using this love to build our ego and to build our life and to build our story. And because we're using it all for that, we've confused it all with that. And so it's a very subtle process to return after you've stepped off of that space. You know, imagine being in a dark room, and when the room was lit, you put a red dot in the middle of the room and you went and stood on it, and then somebody turned out the lights, but you know you're standing on the red dot. But then somebody comes and pushes you, and then they say, okay, go find the red dot. Well, you're in the pitch black. So how do you find the red dot? You know, it's not going to move. It's not going to yell at you. It's not going to attract your attention in any way. You've got to figure it out. And so we're kind of doing the very same thing, but there's a joke in it, and that joke is that nobody's ever pushed you off the spot. You're already on the spot. You just don't know that you're on the spot, so you're still going to desperately try all these different ways of trying to find the red spot, not understanding that you don't need to. And anyway, we're just going to go round and round at this point, because there's no way to talk about anything else beyond that. So quieting the mind is just that. It's trying to do whatever you need to do, or not do whatever you need not do, to become aware of that which is confusing itself as the doer, which is why it's so busy. But you just try and stop being distracted. That's really all you have to do. Believe it or not, all religion is just about that, just trying to get you to not be distracted for a second, so that you can see what is and not what you think is. See, we only know what we think, and there's a knowledge beyond that we don't have any indication of, that we don't have any understanding of in our mind, in the relational world. And so it seems difficult, when in fact, if we could just figure it out, if we could not figure it out, that's part of the difficulties. We're trying to figure it out. Anyway, there's not much more to say without just getting tongue-tied. Just know thou art that. And when you sit to do your practice, just keep reminding yourself that nothing has to be done, except just extreme silence, so that you can see yourself, or become aware of yourself. Not aware of body or mind, but aware of your presence, aware of your own isness. And that's, according to the sages, very easy because it's already done. That's what Thakur meant when he says it's easy to wake up a person who's sleeping. It's very difficult to wake up a person who's pretending to be sleeping. And so that's our problem. We're pretending to sleep. We're pretending to not know these things. We're pretending that we've got a story going, and that it's worth listening to, and that it's worth living. But in fact, we don't have a story, and we don't have an action available to us. And we are, in fact, already wide awake underneath the distraction. We're wide awake. We are all seeing and all knowing, and pure love itself. All right. So let's jump in. So they were making their way to Dakshineshwar to see Thakur, and mother was it's like this third day, I think, of walking, and she's extremely tired, and now she's caught a fever. And so her dad and she have spent the night in a lodge to nurse her a little bit. And so now it's the next morning. All right, so we are in Sri Sarada Devi and Her Divine Play. It's this book, and it's on page 54. All right, so the next morning, Ramchandra found that his daughter's fever had subsided. So Ramchandra's Holy Mother's father. He thought it would be better to continue on slowly rather than to stay in the inn. Encouraged by her vision, Sarada eagerly agreed. Luckily, after walking a short distance, they found a palanquin for her. Her fever returned, but it was not as severe as on the previous day, so she said nothing about it. They arrived at Baidyabati, and then they took a boat to Dakshineshwar. Sarada, her father, and the other women reached the temple garden at 9 o'clock that evening. As Sarada alighted from the boat, she heard the master say to Hriday, "Oh, Hriday, this is her first visit. I hope the hour is auspicious." The master's first words, laden with tenderness, were to encourage Sarada to go straight to his room. Her companions waited outside. As soon as the master saw Sarada, he said, "So you have come. Very good. I'm very happy." You know, you'll probably hear those words someday from Thakur's mouth directly. "Oh, good. You've come. Finally. I'm very happy to see you." He then told someone, "Spread a mat for her on the floor." So see, Thakur will spread a mat for you on the floor also. She and her father sat on the mat. When the master heard that she was ill, he expressed his concern. In an apologetic tone, he said, "You have come so late. Alas, my matur is no longer alive to look after you. With his death, I feel as if I've lost my right arm." After that, the introductory conversation, Sarada wanted to go to the Nahabat, the concert tower, where her mother-in-law was staying. The master said, "Oh no, stay in my room. It'll be inconvenient for the physician to see you there." So there you go. You'll get an invitation to stay in Thakur's room itself. He doesn't want you anywhere except right next to him. That's the case right now too. So you better listen. It was almost 10 o'clock at night and the dinner was over. There was no cooked food available. At that time, Dakshineshwar was a remote village and there were no restaurants. Hriday brought 2 or 3 baskets full of puffed rice to Sarada and her companions for supper. A separate bed was made for Sarada on the floor in the master's room, and it was arranged that one of her companions would spend the night with her. Her father and other companions stayed in the Nahabat and the other rooms in the temple complex. One can imagine what was going on in her mind while lying there in her husband's room. Although Sarada was exhausted by the fever and the long journey, she must have been relieved to find that her husband was not insane. Actually, I'm kind of hoping that Thakur is a little bit insane, but but what a relief. So she's come that journey. Just think of how the relief she must have felt because of everybody telling her how crazy this man was, and her thinking that she had to go and take care of him because he was crazy. It would be an amazing relief to find out that he wasn't. He seemed normal and rational, loving and caring. His cordial welcome eased her anxiety and her uncertainty. Her godlike husband had not forgotten her, and he was as gracious as before. For the past 4 years, ignorant and worldly people had spread vicious rumors. Although Sarada had been tormented by the village gossip, she now realized that some good had come of it. It had ultimately led to a happy reunion with her husband. I don't know, I can't help but spiritualize these things when I read them and think about this being our own homecoming, our own realization, our own meeting the master for the first time, and coming to see that all of our anxieties and all of our worries about our impurities and our shortcomings and our weaknesses and all the things that agitate us now and make us feel or suspect, that somehow the relationship with God is different. It's not full. It's not safe. It's not mature, whatever. When we finally come to that space to be able to completely relax for the first time, knowing the love of God, and to know that to know that peace for the first time, that absolute knowledge that everything is in fact okay, that everything is in fact exactly as it should be, and that there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to apologize for, there's nothing to pay for or to make up for. You'll realize the love that has always accompanied you. You'll realize the depth of the mercy that has always followed you. And it will be a moment of the deepest and purest rest that we've ever had. Amazing thing. Moreover, Sarada must have been apprehensive about how the master would receive her, because aren't we all, concerned about the way that the master will receive us? Because we're still being foolish about why the master would receive us. We're still thinking that it has something to do with us, something to do with this ego self. But it doesn't. It doesn't have anything to do with that. This has entirely to do with an unconditioned love emanating from the master, a mercy without a limit. He is that one effect that has no cause, and that is the nature of his love. It is the one effect that has no cause. He just loves you because he is love itself. And that knowledge, when it finally dawns on us, when we finally have comprehended to some extent an otherworldly love, a love that we've never encountered because we've never seen an unconditioned love, and to know what it was like to meet Jesus or to meet Buddha or to meet Ramakrishna or the Divine Mother. It's why that they're still changing a world that they long ago physically left, that they're still inspiring tears and inspirations in all of the devotees. She knew that Thakur had taken monastic vows from Totapuri in 1864. A monk renounces his family and his wife. She had perhaps expected to be rejected, which would have been unbearable for a devout and faithful wife. And yet we still have that fear. We still have that fear. It's a lot of the reason that we wrap our mind in this distraction, is because we have a very, very deep-seated insecurity or fear about our acceptance by God. And that fear our acceptance of being accepted by our beloved, that fear of not being accepted by our beloved, is the fear that often drives us to not think about it, because we don't know how to solve that. We don't know how to fix that, because it wouldn't be fixable if it was true, but it's not real. So it's even less fixable. To try and fix something that isn't real is very difficult indeed. And so, but you see, this is how we befriend our mind. This is how we find our own compassion for ourselves, is by building this knowledge of the love of God, of a perfect love with no cause, and developing our faith in that. And that's the essence of faith. You know, faith isn't believing in something with no proof. It's believing in something that we know, but we don't know why we know it. You know, it's having a faith in something that we know, but we don't know why we know it. A faith in a pure love, a perfect love, a faith in an immortality, a faith in timelessness. All of these things that we shouldn't even conceptually have in our mind, because there was no way for the senses to place them there. There was no way for this world to teach us any of those things. The world could not teach, the world cannot even utter the word immortality, because it knows nothing of immortality. The world cannot even utter the word infinite, because the world knows nothing of infinity. In the material, everything is limited. The world cannot utter a single word of an unconditioned love, because everything in this world is paid for. Everything in this world is a matter of karma, because we're using our karma to create it. We're using the power of karma to create it and to keep it going. And so it has built in us that apprehension, you know, that we see in Adam and Eve, in that the first act that they did after eating the forbidden fruit was to hide from God. So it's the direct result of that, the direct result of imagining that we've done something wrong or unworthy and claiming it as our own. It's that very thing that drives us to distraction, that drives us because we don't know what else to do. And really the only thing to do is surrender, you know, to turn to the beloved and tell him everything. Open up, hide nothing, surrender everything in the full confidence that you are in that embrace regardless of the outcome. And then you just let go and enjoy this beauty. The apprehension disappeared when she found that the master let her sleep in his room and intended to arrange for medical treatment. Overwhelmed by her husband's love, compassion, and kindness, Sarada joyfully fell asleep. Well, there it is. A joyfully falling asleep in the presence of God could be a metaphor for that union. Could be a metaphor for you just ceasing to be a separate entity in the room and leave only the one, you know, in that way. With good medical treatment and a special diet, Sarada recovered within 3 or 4 days. The master himself supervised her medical care and diet, and then arranged for her to stay with his mother in the Nahabat during the day. At night, she slept in his room. Sarada was now entirely reassured. That's the state that we're going for. That state of entirely being reassured that one, God is real, that love is real, that it's not conditioned, you know, that it's available and present here and now, and then we simply respond to that. And the only response to pure love is just completely letting go, completely giving yourself over to it. You can't do anything else. It's your full and highest inspiration in the presence of pure love, just to walk into it. to let everything go away. She immediately decided that her duty was to serve the master and his mother. Sharada's father was pleased by his daughter's happiness, and he returned home without her after a few days. So Sharada's father was pleased, but deciding that her duty was to serve. That's the other thing. That's the other sign that you've touched this divine love, that you've touched that raw wire of pure love within yourself, is that it just makes you want to serve. It just makes you want to give, because you realize you've touched something, first of all, that you couldn't even imagine existed. Something that gave you an experience of love that was beyond what you thought this world could possibly even contain. And you realize that it's in your hand to give, that you can give it freely. And so what do? You try and give it away, but you realize that every time you give away some, you get more. You're even deeper in it. You're even more overcome by it. And so you keep giving. And it just, you're drunk in it. You're completely overwhelmed in it and by it. This is the nature of the beloved. So many names went through my mind there for a moment. The nature of Thakur, the nature of Jesus, the nature of God, the nature of Mother is this: to fill you up with so much love that you can't stand up, and then to allow you to share it, to give it, which is the only thing at that point that you could possibly find any joy in, is just that, just giving. Later, Sharada told the devotees, "The master's thought so much about my welfare." Indeed. He always looked after my comfort and saw to my needs. What an intense love he had for me. People had circulated a rumor that he was mad, and my parents were anxious about me. Afterward, they were relieved and happy, observing the master's normal behavior and his loving relationship with me. Yes. You see, the world around her now is feeling that relief. The world around her is observing that love and observing the master's kindness, observing his faithfulness. And so this is the natural story for those of us married to Thakur, that when we come to know that love, when we come to trust the extent of that love, and we get filled up and we want to start serving, we want to share it because we just can't imagine not sharing it. And then the people around us begin to be blessed by that love in us, really ultimately by Thakur in us, by Jesus in us, by Buddha in us, by God in us. Ordinary people may wonder why Ramakrishna did not bring his wife to Dakshineshwar earlier. Chetanananda explained the situation. Undoubtedly, an ordinary person would have done that, brought Sarada to Dakshineshwar earlier. But the master was not such a person, so he did not behave in that manner. Those who are accustomed to performing every action while depending solely on God at every moment of their lives do not make any plans. For the good of themselves and others, they depend on the assistance of God's cosmic intelligence and wait for a signal rather than resorting to their own limited, puny intellects as we do. In addition, we can say that the master knew through his yogic vision that this was the will of God. Providence has its appointed hour for everything. After finishing his sadhanas, Ramakrishna waited to share his hard-earned spiritual treasures with his wife. Sarada also waited for the right time, when she achieved her maturity, to act the next part of her divine drama with her husband. Providence set the stage for this act in the temple garden of Dakshineshwar. This is an amazing little set of things to say right here. And I don't know how to teach it, to be frank with you. because it's a startling teaching right there, that the person who trusts in the Lord does not make a plan, that they wait for the prompting of the divine in everything that they do. It's a very, very, very beautiful, very high teaching. And it teaches you directly, what does it mean to trust in God? Well, first of all, if you have that kind of trust in God, you're thinking of him at every moment. You're thinking of her at every moment, aware of that presence. And you've become accustomed to actually checking on that presence, in with that presence. And in that presence is all of your fulfillment. So there's no need, there's nothing to cause you to act. There's nothing that pushes you to make a plan, because there's no need to plan anything. Everything is perfect as it is. What is there to plan? Right? And so you follow that inner prompting, that comes spontaneously, not from thought, not from an arrangement of ideas or a sequence of thinking that makes you aware of a lack or a need, right? Because there is no lack or need in the moment. And so what happens is that you wait purely for that spontaneous inner prompting, and you move, not knowing why, not even necessarily knowing where or what's going to be accomplished. But you obey, you hear it, and you move. It's really the only genuine thing we'll ever do. And in that kind of faith, in that kind of relationship with the beloved, everything is provided for. Everything is provided for. Now, actually, a long time before that level of faith happens, Mother is fully willing and able to provide for everything. But she's providing for a soul. She's not providing for a body or a mind. And so you have to come to know that in order to be satisfied with her service. All right, it's 7. Does anybody have a question or want to talk about something more or share something?
So, Swamiji, who was the companion? I know it's not important, but Ma, who slept in Thakur's room with Ma, must be a very lucky person.
Yes, well, yes, you are, Gita. A very lucky person. Yeah, it was. I think it was just her companions from the village. Some of the women from the village that came along. They also wanted to see Thakur and visit the temple. So just some of their companions, probably someone trusted as I don't know. I don't know who it was directly. It doesn't really name her. But we know it was the women from the village that accompanied her. So it must have been one of them.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a nice meditation for going to sleep. That I've done on occasion, when you lay on your arm and you're falling asleep. I always like to think that I've got my head on Mother's knee, that I'm sleeping with my head in her lap, and I try and imagine that as clearly as I can sometimes to fall asleep. That's a very sweet feeling. Maybe a little silly, but it's a very sweet thing to do.
I've had the same kind of thing where it's like crawl into Mother's lap and just fall asleep there.
Yes, it's exactly it. All of us. Have you ever seen that video of the woman who gave birth to sextuplets? And she's got 6 kids laying around her in the hospital bed, and the husband's there, and the husband is like doing this thing or something with his hands, and every time he does it, all 6 of the babies just giggle uncontrollably. And he just keeps doing it over and over. And there's the mother sitting in the middle, with each one of them. And it's just such a pure and beautiful manifestation of the love of God and her relationship with us, as we all lay around her, freshly birthed into the world, to see that kind of love, and how that she doesn't pick any one of them above the rest. She's inundated with just the love of her 6 new children. And with God as mother, that's one of the special things of it. There's no other manifestation where you can get that level of understanding of the love of God than through God when he comes as mother, when that comes as mother, when they come as mother. Yeah. All right.
Swami.
Well, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you notice that we have someone new today?
Not on my screen. Let me go to this view. Rangu Nalakar.
Is it
Yeah.
not?
Who?
Yeah,
Who's
that's
new?
Hi.
that's Nandini Swami.
Yes. Well, Nandini's come before.
Yeah, but not to this.
Oh,
Not to
not
this.
to this. Oh goodness, you have way too high of an expectation for me.
Of what? No,
that
no.
that I know who comes to what classes. I have no idea who comes to what classes.
Yes. Nandini's come today.
Hi,
Well,
Swamiji.
hi, Nandini. Good to see you.
Yeah, so sorry, evening is very hard for me to attend, so I'm usually missing on the evening.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Are you going to be? You're still in DC, right?
I'm in Virginia.
In Virginia. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I
same.
mean that's Metro DC area.
The jurisdiction of DC.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, are you going to be there next week? I'm coming on Friday.
I'll
I'm
try,
very
Swamiji. On Sunday, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm coming from
Yeah.
Friday night, and I'll be there until the following Sunday. Yeah.
Oh,
it'd be
okay.
wonderful.
So
You can
you are
make it.
speaking next Sunday? Are you speaking next Sunday?
This coming Sunday. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
By the will of Rama.
Oh, beautiful.
Will we be having the Monday class then, Maharaj?
Yes, we'll have all of our classes. I'll do them from DC.
Okay.
I'm going to try and talk to Swami A when I get there to see if I can actually do them in the basement like I used to, and that way people who are local can come.
I don't know, Swami. It clashes with Swami A's class.
Does
He's
it?
doing
Only
basement.
today. It's
Oh.
Today,
have-
he didn't have a class, but usually 8 o'clock class on Monday classes clashes with Swami A's Panchadashi class.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So we won't do it if it clashes. Well, the class will still go on. I just won't do it at the center.
Yeah.
I'll do it wherever I do it, out the weeds somewhere.
The living room.
But
Yeah,
other class, but Swamiji, the Tuesday class you have, he doesn't have a class.
Right.
So you could do it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
There.
I'll have to talk to him when I get there, and I'll try and let people know when I know, maybe in the vlog or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Do
not
it in the room, Swami.
what's that?
Maybe the living room.
Yeah, no, the living room would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have to check in with him. I can't make plans for using the center without speaking with him, and I'll do that. I could probably do that before I get there. Maybe I'll call him this week. I have to call him anyway. But anyway, the classes. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is the classes will go on next week. I'll just do them from wherever I am, and carry on from there.
So first thing we'll see you is on Sunday. Is that right?
No. First, you can come. I come in on Friday night.
So,
And I'll
but
be there.
I mean, we are as a group. When are we going to see you? On Sunday, Saturday? Are you coming there?
I'm going to be staying at the center Friday night, Saturday night.
Okay.
I'll be at the center Friday night, Saturday, and all day Saturday. I'm just going to be there for anybody who wants to drop in.
Lovely.
Yeah. No, I'll be there all day. If nobody comes, I might go for a walk or something, but
That's not going to happen.
Now we need to get you to visit North Texas.
Saturday, Swami.
North Texas. Yeah. I'll visit. I can visit anywhere. Get a couple of people together that want to have a little discussion circle, and I'll come down. That's all it takes.
I'll hold you to that.
Good. Yeah, good. Please do.
Make a drive up to North Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, North Texas isn't too far.
Yeah, so there's a few of us around here, I think. So, and within a few hours, Texas is a big state.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention to everybody, September 29th to October 2nd, we're doing our fall retreat. I just rented a beautiful cabin in the woods near Winter Park, which is just fantastic, spectacular Rocky Mountain views, right there in the middle of it, actually. So there might be snow on the ground at the end of September, but either way, the place is huge. It sleeps 20 people. So, but if anybody wants to come to that, it's $275 for a room and board for the weekend. And if you can't afford that, don't worry about it. If you're free and want to come no matter what your financial condition is. We can absorb that or take care of that. So
What is the committee, September?
September 29th to October 2nd.
Okay. So it's before it's after the long weekend, right? Labor Day is in September.
Labor Day, I think, is the first part of September.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is at the end. And we did one in the spring and it went really well. We had about, I guess, 12 people came to that one. And it was a very nice time. There's something very nice about being around Holy Company for the whole weekend, especially in a beautiful setting. And we can talk about these things and meditate together. And I'll bring the piano so we can sing songs together and cook together, stay up late together.
Do you have a theme, Swami?
What's that?
Do you have a topic, a theme?
God.
Yet. No. Oh, I just asked.
Yeah,
Usually
I
topics.
don't have a theme, but it'll be practice oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about honing our practice and just being present together. That was kind of the idea behind the retreats. Not much lecturing. There'll be conversation, question and answers, but an open conversation. But I don't know, part of my emphasis in being here is on practice. We've heard so much. we know way more than we need to know to realize God. You know, it's not a matter of needing to learn another fact or another story or another truth. It's now a matter of practice. And so the retreats and the get-togethers are more about that. The teaching and talking and stuff we can do in these classes or on the phone or anywhere. But when we get together, it'll be about practice, about devotion, about pertinent questions that arise in how we're doing something or what we're doing, whatnot like that.
What city was it in again?
It's in a city called Fraser, which is not a city. It's barely even a parking lot. But it's called Fraser, and you take Highway 70 into the mountains, and then you turn right on Highway 40. So if you look at a map on Google Maps, you'll see it. It's way in the mountains there. It's on the backside of the first range of mountains in a valley before the next one starts. So you're surrounded on all four sides by mountains.
So, Swamiji, can you put the details somewhere on your website, maybe?
Sevilla will be sending out, if anybody's on the mailing list, she sends out the invitation to everybody. If you're not on that list and you want to go, just you email me and I'll send you the details. Okay. Yeah, we're not putting it out to the whole world because we've only got room for, maximum of 20. I think we've got everybody who wants their own room or their own bed. We can get, I think, up to 12 people. After that, we're going to be doubling, so, or putting you on the floor somewhere. But there's plenty of room. There's 20 people can come. So they say 20 people can sleep in that place. So But if I open it up and send it out or put it on the website, then
Too many people.
too many people and just total strangers. We kind of want practitioners.
Yeah.
You know, people we want practitioners to come. That's the kind of the point of it. It's not an outreach event.
It's not a vacation. Yeah.
Well, it is. The same way realization will be the best vacation. This will be a runner-up. Runner-up to realization. So yeah, no, you're all welcome. It'd be delightful to have you there if you can come. So just drop me an email and we'll get you a space. We've got 5 people registered so far. So, all right.
Okay.
Very good. Now, please accept my apology for being late in starting today. And I'm not sure how or why that happened.
Don't worry about it, Swami.
We're like, what happened? You just
It's meant to be.
I was down by the creek when Nicole dinged my phone saying,
He was
"Are
working.
you okay?"
He was working.
It's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like,
Aw.
asking, "I am okay," and I was like, "Oh my god."
There was a class.
There's class tonight. Yeah.
It's okay, Swami.
Yeah, it's okay. It's disturbing because I mean it's never happened. That's why it's disturbing. And it's terribly irresponsible.
Clue.
Don't worry about
It's a clue.
So anyway, I apologize. And I didn't intend to happen this time, so I can't promise it won't happen again, but I will set every intention for it to not happen again. Let's put it that way.
I hope it happens again. I hope it happens every week. That was beautiful. It's like you channeled. I love it. Let's do more. Come on.
it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't miss a beat, Swami. You did
I
not
mean-
didn't miss a beat.
Well, that's Mother's grace.
That's where you were. You were with Ma. It
Yeah,
happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. She was working me to death today, getting all the videos organized. It was funny. I went and watched the very first one that I did. And it's a very odd thing to do, to go and watch 3 years of video of yourself. It was very odd. Anyway, it was easy to kind of not really think it was me because there's been a lot of change in 3 years, which I was confronted with. Like, wow. When I'm on that very first one, I have a full beard. And most of this lovely, beautiful new color that's coming in hadn't come in yet. So
Mountain beard. It was very solid.
yeah, it was I don't know. Anyway, those things. So, all right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Swami.
Maharaj.
Well,
Thank you.
we'll see everybody tomorrow night at 7, if those who want to come. And
Right.
please remember, if you want to come to the retreat, it would be delightful. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Swami. Be well, everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you will. Jai Ma.
Bye, Ma.
I'm-
Bye.
Good night.
Thank